Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. Now let's take a look at a story of creative success from Diana Silva and Luis Lopez during an art exhibition in Camden, now an area obviously famous for its art and culture.
We went to some of the most iconic places in London, and I really enjoyed it. It was a good experience for me because it was the first time I went to those places, so I could explore and observing the vibe of the place. And I think you can see that in the pictures. Well, I choose the ones that are my favorite ones and the ones I think people would like to see. And you always have a story behind the photographs. So because I was there, I lived those moments. Maybe I chose the ones that I'm more attached and I think are more meaningful because people are going to see that on the photos. Even if they don't know, they feel connected somehow, and I think it has to do with that, with the connection you make with the photographs and with what you are photographing. It's my first exhibition, so I am really excited about it. I think it can bring you some value in the way that the feedback people is going to give you. You have your friends, your colleagues, your family supporting you, and I think that helps a lot with your confidence because it's not just taking photos, you need to share with people, and if you don't have that support, it's like photos forget in time. So I think it's important in that aspect.
So the main problems that I've encountered here in London was that no one knew my work. I had to start from the beginning, start to do another portfolio, start to do a lot of pictures from London and a lot of videos from London so I can show what I'm capable of. Okay, in my opinion, I think for a good photographer you need to have the basic knowledge of photography. So about lens, about exposure, about temperatures. This is a must for a photographer.
Some very talented photographers there. So now it's time to welcome Mary Hyacinth Tondo to the studio. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
How are you, sweetie?
Thank you, I'm fine.
She's a bit cold today, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Just come back from
Philippines.
Okay, so it's a bit cold for the
Back
weather.
to chilly England.
Back to chilly England. Okay, but we do have something quite serious to speak about because you've had a very, very hard time, haven't you? Can you tell us about that?
I'm still away from my children for now, so hopefully in 6 months' time I can have them join me here in this country.
Now, why is it that you are separated from them? What happened?
I've tried to apply for their visas, but the law requires that the husband should join as well, the father. But since we're not together anymore, I had to do the first step first, which is the annulment. So I filed it already.
Okay. Now tell us about life in the Philippines. What was going on, in your relationship, and why did you have to come to the UK?
In the Philippines, the marriage is broken down, and there were 2 children, and I was going to raise them up all alone. And my father actually was encouraging me to look for greener pastures and try and see if I can take my master's here. And obviously the plan was to take my children with me, except that international family law requires that when children migrate, both parents should migrate. And I was torn between just taking them or ask my husband to come along again, and
which you didn't want because you wanted a break from him.
It's not going to happen, no.
Okay. So what's life been like without your children? It must be really
It's very difficult. I go home as often as I can, but obviously it costs me, and I Skype and we do homework over Skype and FaceTime.
How old are they?
10 and 5.
Right, okay.
But I've been here 5 years now, so the eldest I left, he was 5, and the youngest I left, he was 9 months.
Gosh.
He was a baby.
But how did you cope? I mean, for those that are separated from their family members, from their children, because there are many people that obviously parents that they'll go to another country because they want to help their family, they want to work somewhere else and send money back home.
Yes.
How do you cope during this time?
We're lucky in this day and age because of the technology.
Yeah.
You see them face to face, but you can't touch them. Obviously, you can touch the screen, but and it's mothering, it's parenthood from a distance. But I was lucky because I had an uncle and an auntie. They had no children and they were taking care of my children.
Okay.
So
you knew they were okay, or they're
yes.
okay at the moment. Okay.
Otherwise, you know, when they're sick or when, you know, they're in hospital.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it is stressful. And for me, it's also encouraging them with school and, you know.
Now, you haven't just sort of been in the UK and been moping around or you know, not doing anything with your life. You've actually been going for it and doing something. Can you tell us about that?
So I did my master's. I came here to take my master's, and when I was done, I looked to study, or I mean to practice what I studied, which I am back in the Philippines. I was a speech therapist. So when I couldn't practice yet, I didn't have my license yet here. I was doing the master's and I was doing care work. I was working as a sport worker and all kinds of odd jobs to get by. And then when I finally finished my master's and then I got my license, and then I tried and tried to land a job that's in line with what I did and with that I studied. And I landed a job as speech therapy assistant.
Okay.
And then after 3 months I got promoted.
Okay. And does that being focused on something, does that help, you know,
Yes.
to being separate? Because I could imagine if you're not really doing anything with your life, it's
Oh,
even
no.
worse
Yes.
to be separated from someone.
You'll go crazy. So the motivation is there. I'm busy with coursework, with school, and I was working on the side as well. And how do you say, preparing for interviews and just being the drive, you know, just to keep going.
How are you preparing for your children to come over? Have you got plans and things for them? Or?
Oh, I keep on looking at houses to rent, but as soon as it's ready, I will sort everything out, because it's one thing for them to apply for the visa, but they have to prepare everything when they come here, that there's a room for them, they have somewhere to live.
I mean, I think that's a good thing to do, like when you are separated from family members, you know they're eventually going to come and join you, but in the meantime, it's like, what do you do?
Yes.
So I think one of the nicest ways, instead of sort of dwelling and being sad about, oh, they're not with me, I miss them. Of course, you're going to feel that way, it's inevitable, but to actually look forward to something and start preparing, like, I'm going to decorate the room like this, and you start doing, you know, little bits and pieces, so you're looking forward to something rather than looking backwards and thinking, well, I'm not with them. So it's just I think it's just a way to
make it positive.
Help. Yeah, exactly. Make the time pass by a bit quicker. But also to help in, you know, with all those emotions that you're probably going through.
The way to cope was to make it look like, well, there's the light at the end of the tunnel, you're just focusing on that and not on this, and baby steps as well, because I get overwhelmed before, like when I was doing my research, and so it was stressful, so bit by bit, sort of, and even with thinking about my children coming here, I was so impatient. I want them here.
Obviously, you're missing them, isn't it?
But I had to finish my master's first. I had to be settled here first.
So now when they come, so you're expecting them in about 6 months? Is trying to sort everything out?
Yes, as soon as the annulment is
so you're
final.
nearly there.
I know, fine. I always say I'm near the end and the beginning.
It's true. Wow, you've been so strong.
Oh,
you've been really good.
I have my family with me as well, my mommy and my daddy. And I have a sister here in Ealing.
Okay. What advice would you give maybe to another mom or dad that's in this situation?
Single parents like me. Well, it's an investment. Our children are investments. One day maybe they will take care of us.
Hopefully, after all that, right?
After all the sacrifices. And it's really that, just to have them feel that we're doing everything for them as well. not to lecture them, which I do. I lecture them all the time. Study hard and do well, and I'm doing everything for you, and you will join me soon.
Yeah.
I didn't leave you because I don't love you. And
it's important to communicate that to them, isn't it, all the time?
Even at an early age. And so that I can empower other women as well, hopefully, when I share my story. And
yeah, brilliant. All right, Mary, thank you so much
Thank
for sharing
you.
your story.
Thank you for
And
having
I
me.
hope you're going to have a big party when they do come over.
I know, let's have the big welcome. We'll
Have
do
a big
that.
welcoming committee, right?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Thank you so much. Okay, so do stay tuned because we haven't finished yet. Up next, we have Latifa, who's going to be performing for us, and I'll also be answering one of your questions. So do stay tuned.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.